I'm Dan Morris. You're watching Bosun Dan Bushcraft. And today we're gonna have an axe off. What is an axe off? I hear you yell in proud and happy voices. Well, it's a competition between axes. I've decided, well, I'd had this thought, you see. Is a bigger axe better? Is a bigger axe faster at going through wood, firewood, whatever? Now, the answer to that seems kind of self-explanatory in a sense. And to my mind, I have to think, how could it not be? How could it conceivably not be that a bigger axe goes through wood a lot easier and a lot faster? So what I'm going to do is pit the three axes against each other today and see where we get with that. I personally already have a thought of which one will be fastest. I'll go through that in just a moment. But before we do that, I may as well introduce the axes that we're going to be using. Whilst I also got some chicken for later. Whilst I rummage through my pocket and find a little piece of paper, because two of these axes have nothing written on them as per weight or anything like that. Now, we're starting off with the good old Freya here. Anyone who watches my videos will recognise this. This is everybody's favourite axe. It is a tomahawk styled hatchet that I have rehandled and put a slightly longer handle in myself, just to give me that little bit of extra swinging force, bit more extra options. It weighs 600 grams, so it's, 100 grams over half a kilo. Doesn't have a maker's mark on it. I found it basically as just an axe head on a market some years ago. Quite like the style and built it up myself. So we can't really go off maker or anything. Oh well. This you may recognise from other videos is Terra. Now Terra does have maker's marks on it, no weight marks on it. I had to weigh it. Terra is made by a company called Openskopf, and her model is the Openskopf Canada. Interestingly, I think it's a German company, Openskopf. That is pretty much your standard sort of mid-range felling axe, or what some people might refer to as a half axe, because the shaft is basically a handle and a half. Now, no weight marked on that blade. I had to weigh the thing, and Terra weighs in at 1.3 kilograms. This interesting thing, which again, no maker's marks. I do not know who produced this, what it is. Some people have had their own theories. They believe it may have been produced by the company Elwell. Very, very, very possible in the UK. Elwell have been around forever, and they've made thousands and thousands and thousands of axes and cutting implements. This, however, came to me as just a rusty axe head in a bucket, given to me by a chap who just moved into a farmhouse, who I was working with at the time, and said, would you like this? And that axe head was in the bottom of the bucket. No weight marked on it, no maker's names marked on it. And Erebus weighs in at a whopping 2.1 kilograms. Practically 2 of Erebus there. This one, interestingly enough, could be described as a felling axe with the shape and the size of the blade. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I'll show you a close-up at some point and show you the shape in it. But she has this rather fat midsection. It thins out either side there and has that fat midsection. With that fat midsection and the sheer weight of it, that is, I know it to be, an excellent splitting axe. Never used it to drop anything yet. So I'm going to have to drop a tree because there isn't any. Well, there are. It's been raining, and the ones that are on the deck are a little bit gooey for my taste. So I want a nice dead dry one, and I can see one behind me, a nice little pine there. Now, whether it's in a location where it's going to fall nicely, we'll go and have a look at that in a minute. I have got a stopwatch to try and make this as accurate as possible. Obviously, accuracy is going to be the best that I can get it, because what's going to have to happen is I'm going to have to start the stopwatch, put it down, grab the axe, start swinging away. And then when I've got through the log, put the axe down, stop the stopwatch, and the time we get is the time we get. So it's not going to be super accurate, and I've got to try and keep my axe strikes, the blows with the axe, somewhere about the same timing. It's all a bit tricky, but I'm hoping that the differences in cut times are going to be that big, the gaps will be that large, that 4 or 5 seconds of me getting to the stopwatch, putting the axes down and stuff like that shouldn't make that much difference. At least that's what I'm hoping. This is bushcraft, we never know. I am once again back in that same old location where my fiddly effing bench still stands, still hasn't been found yet by the local yobbos. Again, big shout out to Sticks from Sticks Outdoors Bushcraft for the idea of that bench. I know people like Benny Bushcraft and I don't know, did Life's a Hobby try it? I can't remember. A few other people have tried it on the old bushcraft scene. It was Sticks and those guys that gave me the idea. And even though at the time, when you build it, when you're putting it together, you feel like, God, this is awful. I'm not really super keen on this. But for strength and longevity, it's a brilliant idea. And should I ever actually manage to get more of a permanent location for myself, I'll be building 4 or 5 of the damn things, because once they're up, they are up, and that is it. And that stood there now, God, I don't know when the video was when I did the fiddly effing bench, but it's been a while. And the longer it stood, the more it settled into the ground, the more solid that it gets. And at the moment, I'm using it quite successfully to keep all my kit dry, keep my phone off the ground and charge it, because it's been raining this morning. As it often, we're in Staffordshire, it rains a lot. And obviously, as you've probably noticed there, I have a rather nice large jar of vitamin coffee. Can't live without that. So I'm going to see now if I can't find myself a nice little tree to drop and drag ready for the actual cut tests. Oh, that's quite exceptional. You guys can't see it, and if I turn the camera around, you'll never see it. It's too far away. But some bird of prey has just come swooping in really low and landed on a branch there. That was very majestic. I don't know what bird of prey it was. It's very, very far away. Presuming it's a buzzard. I know that we've had a big breeding program of buzzards recently, so that's what I'm going to say it is. I'm going to use Terra to drop the thing in the first place. I've worked with Terra a lot, and I know it's just an easy way of dropping the tree. I've used Freya a lot as well. I'm going to stop waffling in a minute and get on with something. What I would just like to say though, all 3 of, because I know that people are going to want to comment on possible inconsistencies and stuff, all 3 of those axes I have sharpened to the point that any one of them will quite literally shave the hair off your legs. Okay, I'm not going to demonstrate that to you right now because I've been sharpening them for the past couple of days and getting them ready for this, and I am now missing quite a lot of hair off my legs. It's starting to look quite weird. I'm starting to look like I'm a cyclist or something. So I'm going to go and select a tree, we'll get it down, and we'll see how we'll rock on. So I have found this lovely little donor pine tree, nice and dead. There are a few snags above it, which it might be tricky to get it to go through. I am going to have to get it to fall that way, and it should then bypass all of those snags pretty nice. They're not big snags. If it does get snagged up, I should be able to rattle it loose and get it down anyhow. Now, I've been asked a few times about dropping trees, and what I would say for most people, if you don't know what you're doing, don't. They can be very, very dangerous as they fall. A lot of pines, however, are quite reliable. They're nice and stable as they fall. They don't really tend to kick that much, particularly when they're of a relative small size. Generally, the larger the tree, the larger the risk that it's going to kick, drop it on your foot or something like that. Always be ready to ditch your axe and leg it when you're bringing a tree down. If you need to be quite fair, there's other wood options here if I just wanted a fire. It is only that I'm doing what I'm doing with the axes that I'm dropping this thing. And I've dropped loads of trees in my time, always dead ones. There's no point dropping a live tree. They don't burn, you're just killing nature. But in this lovely woodland where we've got a lot of overplanting, because it is a planted woodland, there's just thousands of dead options. So I'm going to try and get it to go over there. Now, I know some people think that you can really choose where your tree is going to fall. You can't. They'll all have a certain lean, and then you have basically like a sort of 30-degree window with which you can steer whereabouts in that window that you're going to land. This is why a lot of the time you'll see when tree surgeons are removing a nuisance tree, they will tend to climb the thing and bring it down in bits because they cannot get it to go where they want it to. If the tree's leaning a certain way, it's going that side, irrespective of what you do to it. So I reckon in my sort of 30-degree window, I have just enough ability to drop it pretty much where I want it to go. No guarantees. I mean, I've not failed to get one where I want it yet, but there's always a first time. Now, I'm not pretending that I am a lumberjack expert, or what do they call them, arborers or anything like that. I'm not trained in this. My experience has just come from the necessity over the years of needing to drop trees. So I'm going to start with the undercut around there. Pretty much the undercut's going to be pointing in the direction where I want it to fall. As I've said, we're limited in options of where it's going to go. It kind of wants to go more to the right, I feel, which is why I'm going to try and encourage it to go really much more left. So right. Just about hit the halfway point. What we want. So now I'm going to start the overcut at the back. I'm only going to go slightly higher than the undercut here. That's all I really need, and it should drop where I want it. No guarantees. This could turn out to be a total waste of time if it badly snags. Yep. I knew you were going to snag up like that. Still, textbook break there. Go on. Textbook. Exactly where I wanted it. Might have taken a little extra hocus pocus, but she's where I wanted her. Right, magic. So we're going to take a little break, recover a bit, make it more fair. I'm going to have to take a little break in between each axe cut because I want to be fresh when I'm swinging them. I'm going to start with Erebus because that's the heaviest, and I think if I was to start with Freya and then go through Erebus, by the time I get to Erebus, it's so much heavier, I'm going to be absolutely knackered. So I'm going to take a break, drink some water. As Ray Mears would say, stop, think, have a drink. And it's these little, how are they called, acronyms or something? I don't know, it stayed in memory anyway. Right, so I'm going to go get some more kit, drink some water, and get on with it. Right then. So I said earlier we're going to try and make this as accurate as we can. I've started with Erebus, the biggest axe, and I'm starting Erebus at the thickest part of the tree, which may seem a little unfair in a sense, but the truth is trees are trees, and they do get thinner the further up the trunk they get. There is nothing I can do about that. So it only seems fairer. It seems the fairest thing to do is to use the larger axes for the thicker sections. It's not going to be much thinner. If there's more than a centimetre in it, I'd be amazed. But that, to my mind, is the fairest thing that I can do. So anywho, it's time for me to get the stopwatch rolling, stop the waffle, start the cutting. Where I've dropped this tree, I've got a convenient little table. Excellent. It's all coming together. Get off. Okay, I'm starting the stopwatch. Yeah, 3, 2, 1, go. Come on, Erebus. through. Lovely. My word. That's the way, car. Swinging over 2 kilograms of metal on the end of a stick. But what you want to know, how long was that? That was around, minus the inaccuracies of having to run and grab it, that was 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Not bad. So I'm going to drink some more water, have a breather, and it's Tara's turn. GoPro. Okie dokie. So, first one Erebus came in, 3 minutes 10 seconds. I can't remember if I said this at the start of the video or not, but I have a sneaking suspicion Tara might turn out to be the fastest, just because I think it's a blend of both worlds. Lighter axe head means easier swings. Longer shaft, higher impact force. So it's heavier than Freya, but a lot lighter than Erebus. So time to start the old stopwatch and get to cutting. In 3, 2, 1, let's roll. It's got to be at the brake. Through. So good old Tara did exactly what I expected her to do. And I'm sure you'll want to know. She came in at 1 minute 54. Now, yes, you can say this, that and the other about that. That's a pretty big gap, even taking into account the first part of the log was that little bit thicker. You know, ain't much thicker. Certainly isn't over a whole minute thicker. Anyway, next up's little Freya. Let's see what she can do. So now it is little Freya's turn. Clear some obstructions. Now this is by far the axe that I am most used to using. So we'll see how she stacks up against the big boys. Okie dokie. Are we ready? In 3, 2, 1, begin. I did not expect that. I did not expect that. Stone the crows. I don't know where that saying comes from. It's a bit silly if you think about it. Why are you stoning crows for? Crows are vindictive, they'll remember you. Anyway, Freya, bearing in mind the wood gets slightly thinner as we go down the tree. 1 minute 36. I am blown away. I did not expect that. I thought Terra would be the fastest. So anyway, I'm gonna get the fire going, gonna get my dinner on. I'm not as tired neither. I'm not as knackered as you. Anyway, never mind that. I'm gonna get the fire on, get my dinner cooking, get some coffee boiling. Then we'll have a bit of a debrief, a bit of a chat about what we've just seen there. Because I am actually surprised by that. I really am. Anyway, let's go. Because of what we're here for today, being the axe business, I'm not gonna go full on Johnny Bushcraft, shaving up Mayor wood and using sparky sticks. I have just slipped a couple of firelighters in my pocket and I'm just gonna cheat and use them to get the fire going, just because I want my dinner, I want a brew, I want a coffee, and I can't be bothered faffing about with Mayor wood and all that. Yeah, no, can't, you don't have to be, well, I've had this discussion before, and I've said this many times on camera. You can't complain about a cigarette lighter being used, because you tell me where in the woods, unless you're doing bow drill or hand drill or any other of the real primitive methods, you can't complain. Tell me where in the woods you're going to find a ferrocerium rod, where in the woods are you going to find a pack of matches? You don't. So as far as I'm concerned, a cigarette lighter is just as bushcraft as any ferro rod. And anytime you do see me using ferro rods, to be quite honest with you, it's normally just for the sake of the video. 9 times out of 10 when I'm out and I'm not recording, I'll just put, I always carry lighters in my pocket. And people say, oh, they can get wet, they can get broken, they can get la-di-da. Yeah, well, just carry 2 or 3. Lighters are dirt cheap. Yeah, they're not expensive things. Matches are even cheaper, yes, but you can dry a lighter out. You're going to look pretty daft. You're going to look pretty daft with a book of matches or a box of matches once it gets wet. Also, one of the biggest issues I've found with matches, I'm just going to have a quick waffle about matches. One of the biggest issues I've got with matches is you can't get Strike Anywhere matches these days. No shop seems to have them. If you want Strike Anywhere matches, you seem to have to go online. They're all these silly safety ones, but the problem is the striker on the side of the boxes doesn't last very well. It seems to get, that's really susceptible to damp, and it seems to just destroy itself in your pocket quite easily. Anyway, I stop waffling about that and get on with making fire. Cue the fast forward. Now pretty much getting there. Smoky as. I always make too much wood, considering all I'm doing is having a coffee and some chicken. I always cut so much wood. I was debating while I was down there, shall I cut another log, and then thought, don't be daft, you've got loads of wood. And what I also have is one of my previous cookery sticks. Excellent, that'll do. It's been there, it's dirty, it doesn't matter. Once it's had fire up its backside for a bit, it'll be fine. Let's get some chicken breast on the go, seasoned with dirty axe handle hands. That's it. Threading it about. Excellent. Have a nice treat for this chicken as well. That's a small chicken breast compared to the first one. Somebody said, well, I've complained about a small chicken breast before, and somebody said it was probably a battery hen. I didn't even know chickens were electric. I apologise for that. Right, let's see what wonderment we have in the bag for this. I wonder. Chicken can just sit there on my bench for a minute. If I was spice, where would I be? Ah, first hit. Yes, you all knew what I was going to pull out. Woodobo. Let's move the camera so I'm not throwing it all over me stuff. The Wooded Beardman's Woodobo. It is genuinely nice stuff. I have said before with this, it is primarily made for fish and game meat, i.e. meats that are not particularly salty. Being an American product, well, it's Canadian, I think, actually, the Wooded Beardman, but it's got a lot of salt in it, is what I'm trying to say. Don't go throwing this on bacon or salted pork. You will just salt yourself to death. You're better off on venison or anything that's got low salt in it, like rabbit or any meat. Beef's not really that salty, is it? But I would not recommend it. I'm throwing most of it on the forest floor, to be honest with you. I would not recommend it on anything that has already got salt in it. Chuck a bit more of that on in a minute. Oh, lemon juste. Lovely stuff. All right, let's get this chicken cooking so we can get the coffee pot on. Oh yeah, that's the place for flame grill perfection. Magic. That'll be nice and hot. Oh, coffee pot now. Did I pack a cup? Yep. It's filthy, don't care about that. Mayo wood, there's everything in this bag. Oh, there it is. I've already got the cooking pan out. Oh, the old water pan. Still can't believe this decent little stainless steel pan. So it's only just a little over a litre. I actually got it on eBay for about 11 quid. Granted, that was a few years ago. But still. I'll get this boiling and then I'll have a tidy up. We'll have a bit of a debrief. Look at the fire now. Oh. Try not to blanch myself. I once did. Not myself, a friend of mine. I literally just poured the whole thing all over him by accident. He forgave me. Never seen anyone move so damn quick. How do I usually do this? There we go, coffee. I'll see if that'll stick. I do have a spoon. I have seen I have a spoon. I only using it. Can't be bothered. I'll just use that. Job's a good one. Ow, that was warm. Right. So while the chicken sorts itself out, I might move it in a minute, put it a bit closer. But we'll get this done first. Let's just have a little chat. Where are my results? I've got a pen, so I had to use a bit of charcoal. Now, as I said right from the very start, this is only ever going to be so accurate. It's hardly scientific. Quality bit of fun. I was just curious personally as what is the difference, because obviously there's thousands of types of axes out there. Erebus came in. We did say as well, Erebus has got to go through a slightly thicker piece of wood, and it thins down as we go down for the different weights of axes, because that's just about the only way we can realistically do it. Trees narrow as they get taller. So Erebus came in 3 minutes 10. Terra came in 1 minute 54. Now, that's a big difference. That is over a minute difference, which didn't surprise me. I really thought Terra, the Open Canada model, was going to be the fastest, because I thought the advantage was going to be it's a bit lighter, you can swing it a bit quicker, you can swing it more easily, you won't get as tired as quick, and the extra handle size will give you that extra bite power. But the absolute shocker for me was that little Freya came in at 1 minute 36. Now, give or take 10 seconds here and there, on account of I had to faff around and get to the stopwatch in the first place, but I am absolutely blown away by that. I honestly expected Terra to be in the lead by a small margin, closely followed by the heavier Erebus, and I, in my mind, had put Freya last. That is not the way it went. So the question is it worth carrying a larger axe? I'm going to have to say no, I don't believe it is. Now that's led me to a new question. Of the three, which one would be better for dropping them in the first place? I know for an absolute fact that Big Boy Erebus is the best for splitting, and I know that because it has that shape where it has the concaves down the edges of the blade and the centerpiece stays thicker, and you will see that on a lot of hatchets that are in the Scout style. They're quite common. They're an all-rounder. That's what they're designed for. They're designed for cutting and splitting and stuff, which is why I know some people who stick by them religiously. And Freya is faster through the wood, no doubt. They get the job done, but they split better. Freya being so thin on the blade will pinch a lot easier. It comes down to your wood selection. But now I'm going to have to see who's the fastest at felling. I can't imagine it's going to be the little one, little Freya, but I might be surprised. That has blown me away. That is such a big difference. 1 minute 36 she went through. And I know it was thinner, but it's a smaller, lighter axe. I am frankly mesmerised by that. I did not expect that the gap was going to be that big. I really didn't. But it is. And I guess it just proves that I was right. I'm right for carrying Freya around with me as my number one. And I'm pretty sure if I do the next test, which would be felling and stuff like that, I get the feeling that the overwhelming result is going to be, for the extra weight and effort that it costs to carry these things into the woods, you're probably always going to be better with the smaller hatchet. I don't know how well this is going to come through the camera, but you can really see how it concaves there and there. So it leaves the middle fat. That's what really helps when you're splitting stuff. Nice thin blade edge for the cutting, and I don't know if you can see the shapes where it's actually hollow ground in there and there. Yeah, you can certainly see it side on when I turn it, because you can see in the reflection. Not bad for something that was a rusty pile in a bucket, is it? But you can see in the reflection where the shapes are, which does make it good for splitting. But I really thought that the weight of this big old beast would equate to really good cutting power, and it just didn't stack up like that. It just didn't stack up like that. I am quite bemused. I did not expect them results. Like I said, I genuinely thought it would be Terra first, followed by this big monster, and Freya would be the slowest. There's so many questions. I think one of the things I really want to do, though, next time, we're going to, like, this has answered nothing for me, so next time what I'm going to do is I will do the same test. Because when you're being scientific, like Bosun done, you've got to have a control. So my control is going to be, the next time I do this test, I'm going to run Freya through the thickest. And I'm going to run Terra through the next. And then the thinnest is going to be Erebus. We'll save these timings, and we'll see. And we'll come up with a calculation there to see what the difference is. But what I can tell you is, over 2 kilo of axe swinging about. I mean, I can swing Freya all day, every day. I use it so often, it's nothing. This big beast, one cut through, and my word, you can feel it. And I'm not a little bloke. I exercise. I'm not unfit. But this, took a toll. Took a real toll. So, chicken. Yes, 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 yes. It's never a bad time for Widobo. Oh, lovely. Oh, do you want to see something gross? You probably no. Look at that. So the other day, me and my son, we like to practice slingshot quite a lot. And I've never done this before in my entire life. I've never shot myself in the back of the hand with my slingshot. I did it 3 times in a row. It carved that crater in me, and every time it sort of scabs or heals over, I just keep knocking it off on things. And then earlier I've just poured a load of hot coffee in it. Like, does it hurt? Does it hurt? It didn't hurt too much when I hit it with the slingshot. No, bloody hurts now. Oh, chicken's done. Ooh. Oh yes. I'll put that in a really silly place. Oh. Yes, chicken's ready. Even got some wild greens, some wood sorrel. I love wood sorrel. With the Widobo. It's still so juicy as well. I'll tell you what, it's delightful. There's no better way, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Ain't no better way to have your dinner than out here, I'm telling you. And yes, this is another Bosun Dan video where you get to watch me stuff my face. Funnily enough, because this is juicy, because I've been doing the bike tour videos, I've not really seen me doing a Bosun Dan cookout for a little while. This is the way. There's just no better way to have your lunch. I'm convinced of it. I think doctors should prescribe this to people. I really wish I owned this section of woodland, you know. I'd create my own little home here. That is really good. That is really, really good. I think you've seen enough of me stuffing chicken in my face. I think this really has got nothing to do with anything, but next time I come out, I'm gonna bring some more trout. I haven't butterflied a trout in a good long while, and I do love a good trout. Best restaurant in the world. I don't really like restaurants. They're usually hot, there's no air. Excuse you, fire. I think this cooking stick's probably got one more barbecue left in it. Well then folks, that's the end of that one. That is all we really need to say on that. And I've got something in my shoe driving me absolutely mad. Get out. Shocking results. Didn't really expect that. Quite pleased with it. So that is all we need to say for today. Does size matter? Apparently not with axes. Anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. As always, it's always lovely to know that people are in some way entertained by the things that I do. I don't know about anybody else, but I've pretty much given up on all other forms of TV now. I pretty much just watch YouTube all the time, purely because I can find anything I want to watch on there. So to everyone who does watch, thank you very much. Usual, like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, tell your mum, I don't know, whatever. As I always say, unless you think it's rubbish, in which case don't bother. But that's all from Bosun Dan, and as always guys, get yourselves out there, get bushcrafting, get having fun. If anybody else does any axie stuff like that, finds different results, please feel free to drop me a line and let me know. I'm always interested to see what other people have found. Enjoy the woods, be safe, and that is Bosun Dan out.